Welcome back to another episode on the Create Mod. In the last episode, we made too much progress and a lot of unprogress. If you didn't see it, we built half of this base and we're not done with this half, but we are mostly done with it, which is always good news. And in this episode, we're going to build the second half of this, but this wasn't the only thing we built. If you notice, there's quite a few bones and another machine over here. I decided for funsies just to fully design another machine. I don't know why either. And this is, if you couldn't tell, a moss farm, a bone meal farm, a something farm to get moss and bone meal, and I've actually collected quite a bit of it. Okay, this is an exciting intro for everyone that cares about rates and stuff, but for no one else. So let's get into it. We are going to finish this build. The second half, I've already planned out in creative because I'm not a fool and can learn from my mistakes. And I feel like this one, even though it's quite busy and entertaining, is missing more like height, because it's just like a little cube with a tube on top, and I thought, why not add some more tubes on these cubes? You can see why I got that confused. So we're gonna add a bunch more cubes and tubes on the tubes and cubes, and then we're gonna add a big old cube with some tubes on it. This doesn't make any sense, and that's because I don't know what I'm saying. I hope to also get a little bit of the interior done. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it, but I just remember that I need to do the warning track around this build because this is a build now that needs a warning track, but we'll do that after the build. First, we need to gather materials, and I honestly think I already have most of them. We're going to be using a lot of tuff, and I'll walk you through the design build process. We're going to try to like invert the use of the observers and stuff and the bone blocks. So we're going to have smaller bone block areas and more observer bit areas. But because observers and droppers and dispensers or whatever are super expensive, we're going to transition it over to polished tuff. And we're going to add back in some of the rust because I think me, along with you guys, really liked the rust idea. And there was some hesitation on the brown and stuff. And I completely agree because that's why I tore it down. But I think the rust will actually work and make it look super cool. So enough talking, let's get to material gathering. I think it's going to be really easy. We just need a bunch of tuff, and we need to convert this into a different tuff flavor. I think we're just looking for polished cut tuff. So I'm going to need to make a lot of that. And then pretty much just more of the materials that I used to build this thing. I might actually already have it, which would be a first. And we have hopefully all the materials back again with furnace, blast furnace, observer droppers and whatever. And then also we got sand, smooth sandstone, tuff, all of the rust blocks, except for mangrove. I forgot mangrove. And then some white terracotta, because we put it in a little bit everywhere. And I think we also have diorite. Beautiful. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to finish off this half of the build. And it's going to be quite simple. We need our bone blocks. That's like the most important block. The first thing we need to do is I'm going to extend this 5-block thing over to this other side, which is actually incorrectly widthized. It's the wrong width, is what that means in English. So I'm just gonna scooch all of these blocks over because I can't be bothered doing a different pattern. Beautiful. And then we can just build this all the way up, and that's good. Now we're gonna connect these boys. I obviously need to texture the top bit. I probably should have done that just immediately instead of being a silly goose. But now we can bring this all the way down. It's going to be fairly simple and straightforward, right? And then we just need to get in a smidgen of texture. It's kind of difficult to do this with just sandstone on the top, so it might actually be worth doing one of these and getting some sand just like that, just that we get some different texture up here. There we go. I think that's enough there. And then the main thing, the tubes on the cubes that we wanted to do is smaller ones of these towers, more smaller smokestacks, because I feel like this one's kind of lonely being all there by himself. So I'm just going to grab my wand and go up. I feel like that's maybe a good amount. Yeah. We're obviously going to texture it and do all that, but first I want to just get the shapes in. Those are now in. I think they're all the same size. Maybe not. It's hard to tell. But now we get to more blast furnace dropper tunnel thingies. This is going to be a little bit shorter. So all of these are 3 tall because this tube is so big. These are going to be 2 blocks tall. So it should make it a little bit more believable, and it's going to be symmetric this time instead of the other one. Oh, Another thing I forgot, I feel like on this side of the build, there's just too many. So I'm going to remove, I think it's this center one, this one here that goes around, because it perfectly splits up this one, and then also the two top ones here, which I think actually work really well. So I'll have to do this in a minute, but I can't. Let me get up, but I can break off some of it quickly now just to show you what it's gonna look like. All right, it is removed, and this is what it looks like from the front. It's not super different, but from the back here, it breaks up the just constant observer thing that was going on before. So I think that actually makes a huge difference. Now to go back to the thing that I got distracted about, we now have to put more observers and stuff going up this way. Now this won't take too long because it's a small tower, small tube on the cube, and is going to be way less work, but I still have to like kind of randomize it as best I can. And we're already at the top. Okay, that is actually really quite easy. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite corner so that it's symmetrical, so that all you OCD boys can not get mad at me. And there we go. They're basically the same. They don't end in the same spot, but otherwise I think they're gonna look fine. And from a distance, it's indistinguishable. I can speak. So now I'm gonna copy this over to the other three, and then we have to texture these because just straight up bones ain't gonna work. But once they're textured, it should look pretty good. And then obviously I have to add the campfires and stuff in the center. And I would do a cool glass fog thing, but I'm not Scar, so I'm not gonna. Maybe in the future when I have a degree in building things in Minecraft, maybe I'll do it, but until then, there's no chance. So the little squiggly things are done, and I've gone along and detailed each pillar as well. The last thing that we gotta do, I might even raise it up one block because it seems a little short. Maybe just from the height angle that I was at, it seems a little short, but from the ground level, which is probably mostly where we're going to look at it, I think it looks good there. But what we need to do now is smokeify it, which shouldn't even be too difficult. I'm not going to do the hay bales underneath because I think it's better if the smokestacks are shorter on the shorter ones. I feel like that just makes sense. Smokestacks are in, and now comes a quick little time lapse. And by quick little, I mean I'm finishing the rest of this base, or at least the outside, the cube that's coming here. It will be a lot of building and a lot of detail work, but I think the outcome is actually going to be pretty cool. Building time, play the music and show the fastness, show the timeline. And the other half of the build is done, and honestly, I really like it. I forgot to put some blocks here, but now it's done. And I really wanted to incorporate the rust thing. I knew the brown wasn't going to work because this area is all not brown, so that just wouldn't work at all. So I just added a cube, but I think it kind of works. It's a little bit like way more futuristic than this other build here. I think we'll have to have some sort of story that combines the two and maybe change this building a bit to make it actually fit the story. Like if this one's crumbling and it's an older factory or something, then it makes sense that this one is made after it. So we'll decide that eventually. Maybe I like put some more soot on this or something, but we'll figure that out at the end or just never. But I really liked how it turns out. I think it is very cool futuristically, and it's a big old cube. So on the inside, we have a ton of space. It is, however, stupid dark, and I have to show you possible options for the hole. So let's do that right now. I'm gonna hop into a creative world and show you all the different fog things that we can do. And I'm gonna have all of y'all vote on your favorite one. Option number 1 is white glass and a fog effect. This is what it looks like from the top bit. I think this one looks pretty cool. And this is what it looks like with the same amount of layers with black glass. It's quite a bit darker. This is what it looks like with gray stained glass. This is what it looks like with light gray stained glass. And then this is the final option, which is shroom lights pretty close to the top. We are not too far at all. And then a fog glass effect to make the lava look like it's closer up. And I honestly don't hate this. I'm not sure what my favorite is. I think it's probably either this one or just lava at the bottom with no blocks or no fog effect anywhere. But I think this one is good for 2 reasons. Because one, when you're flying, you can at least like hover close to the top instead of having to like sink all the way to the bottom of the hole every time you accidentally fall in it, which is really, really helpful in survival. And you can actually see kind of the details of it instead of it being way, 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 way down. And then I also like the empty hole just because you get to see way, 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 way down. And it's like just a hole. So let me know down in the comments which your favorite of the 5 or 6 is, and I will choose the most rated one. Unless it's a stupid one, then I won't choose it. All right, and we're back on survival now. I actually definitely need a bigger archway here. I don't know who decided that that was a good idea. Now we got to work on the interior because it is cool but super dark, and this dirt pathway is still here, which is not very helpful for anyone. All right, dirt platform is gone, and I think in here what I'm gonna want to do is just build in some lights on this thing and then add a cool like bone roof or something and call it a day there. But we're not gonna work on that at all, really. I want to light this place up and I want to get a floor in because right now we have neither. So first and foremost, I'm gonna do this border thing as per usual around this whole build. Okay, the warning track and the concrete inner bits is now fully put in. Now it's time to get on to the pathway. So initially when we were doing the brown, I had an idea to just do mud in here. I still might do that, but I'm also on the fence of maybe we do bone blocks to go around the whole place and we just keep this pattern and stuff. All right, I've gone with mud, and the reason for this is because it is kind of tied into the build just briefly here, and I think it looks the best inside. So we're just going to go with it. It shouldn't be too difficult to make it look good, hopefully. And I think I did center the redstone machine behind me. So this should be perfectly center. It is. Good job, me. Thank you, me. And then something I didn't do at all was center this thing. And that's kind of on purpose. I wanted it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wanted it to be able to like arc and have this thing have this thing curve to go down this way here and maybe a smaller tunnel. So the path is going to go this way and then branch off in either direction and then go down here, and maybe we have something over here, maybe we don't, and I switch this path up eventually. But I think that's a good starting point. We could even have like a little elevator shaft that goes up to a second floor, because this building, this cube is huge. We're definitely going to need 2 floors here. And then over here is mostly just going to be the hole. I want to 100% of the time move this rope pulley or hose pulley up to maybe up top even there, because I think having it at floor level is kind of lame, and it'd be kind of cool to have all the pipes and stuff coming down from the top of the hole up here thing. But we need to get lights in here, and I know I have a couple shroom lights, but I think I wanted to go with glowstone just because mud is a little bit lighter than the brightness of these shroom lights, and I think glowstone will fit better. All right, we got the glowstone, and I'm just gonna throw them in. That's not correct at all. I'm going to throw it in. Hopefully a two wide gap is going to work. I haven't tested it. Oh my god, it does. I guess I have tested it. I plan ahead, I think, before I do things. Constantly. Oh my god, wait, it works here too? What are the odds of that? Maybe everything was planned. You have no idea. Ooh, I don't like how these look. I'm gonna change them real quick. I honestly forgot, as soon as I finished talking about planning, I honestly forgot which ones I wanted to do. Maybe these. Sure. Yeah, these are better. They just have like a little bit more going on. All right, those are now all in. We have to texture this, obviously. I guess we could do that now. We have enough of the other blocks. So I will obviously need a gradient between the two because we're not just going to have a stark line. But until then, I'm just going to do something like this. And I feel like, at least for me, it's easier to build the first layer of blocks, like the packed mud, just alone, and then add the detailing in later. I don't know if that's how it normally works, or if I'm just bad at building and I need to see it get better as I put in the other blocks or something. But that is absolutely how it works for some reason in my brain. There we go. Texturing is done. I actually totally forgot about this, but I might want to do the edges in the mud stairs. But I think we'll see what we do with the inner wall-y bits here. I might just do the wired white concrete just everywhere else. I'm not sure yet, but I did completely forget about the two detailing things that I was going to do here. So I am going to just completely rip out pretty much everything here. And now that that's done, let's get to actually building this thing. So obviously I am stealing this as well from Impulse SV. He kind of had a brilliant idea for this. I think he talked about it in his video. I'm not sure if B-dubs or he actually figured out how to do it, but regardless, it's kind of big brain. So I'm of course stealing it. And what it is, I'm not going to tell you yet until you see it, but I first need to build a backing thing here. So I think that is in properly now. I'm first going to make the border with tough blocks because we're going to need to do this anyway. So I might as well do it now too. And now I'm just going around and building the outer layer here. And there we go. That's the outside all done. You might be able to tell what it is by now, but if you don't, we'll get to it kind of soon. We're now going to put in some gate type thingies here. I need to raise this up by one. Oopsie daisy. And then in the center here, we're going to place a block and then something like this here. Ah! And then the final thing that we need. Oh, these are backwards. And there we go. It obviously, I need to fill in these blocks here, but then otherwise it is done. And that was kind of quick. If it's not obvious to you, it's like a little fan thing, and then we're going to copy the same thing over on this side, and it should look pretty darn cool. So let's copy it over to the other side now, and it's done. And I think this looks super great. I think it adds a lot to the build itself, which is really good. And the keen-eyed among you will notice that they are like mirrored. So this one's spinning this way, and this one is also spinning this way. Or this one's spinning that way, and this one's spinning that way, or something. But they're like flipped, so the tall way goes diagonally both ways, which was on purpose. Because I feel like the fans would do that. I don't know. I think for the rest of this episode, we're going to deal with the interior. I want to first move this thing up and get this tube thing situated. I don't know what kind of lights I want to go for. I feel like the glowstone stuff could be quite cool. But first we got to move this bad boy up here and then get it to be a bottomless supply again, because I am always worried that it'll break itself somehow. The pulley has been moved up. I've also got a little like holding cell for all the lava here. I think you can right click this with a bucket and get a bucket of lava, which is mostly why it's here. And then we also have it going back to the redstone machine, and then this way back to the generators up at the top of the other building. And I've already hooked it up to electricity. That's not what this is. Rotational power? I don't know. And I've made the hole. So now we need to, please. Now we need to do that. And this is going the wrong way, which is fine. If we just throw in one of you, it should start going down. Perfect. Now we just have to wait for this thing to get to the bottom. Then the thing that I am a little bit worried about, we don't yet have power that'll make the lava leave from the hose pulley, which is good news, because I am a little bit worried about it not being a bottomless supply, even though it should be. Because that's what was happening before, and I'm scared. We are at the bottom. I think it's worth testing it, but maybe just to... Actually, no, we can test it to there, but I'm going to just quickly remove the two outputs just in case this doesn't turn into a bottomless supply. And the moment of truth, that's going to start spinning. This should get lava, bottomless supply. That's good. Lava should be getting to here, but maybe it isn't because it's too far away. Yeah, that does seem to be the issue. Okay, I'm a professional video game player. Do not worry. There we go, and it's working. Okay, this should still be a bottomless supply, I hope. It does say that it is, but if down here lava starts to go away, then we know it's broken again and we gotta go fix it. But from the looks of it, it looks like it's working, because normally these lava like anti-pools where you could see the lava here, if this expanded, then it would be broken, but it looks like it's actually working, which is awesome. And we should see, where's the thingy? And it's already full. Wow. All right, we can now hook this back up to the rest of the system here. We should get lava going over there and also heading this way. And we do. I do kinda want to make this a glass pipe all the way up, just because I think it would look kind of cool. Don't do that. Don't do that. That was not good. And this also means now that we can remove this thing. I'm curious if I remove this pipe. No. Okay, so this is now too far away from the... Ow. I'm out of water. So I can remove this from being powered because that just moves the pulley bit up and down. But I do need to somehow power both of these, which is going to be a little bit annoying. All right, that has been cleaned up, and I actually managed to just use one mechanical pump. It is exactly, so every 15 blocks you need a pump, but if there's 15 blocks on either side of it, then you're good. You only need one pump. So I was able to just put in one and it worked perfectly. Like it literally is 15 blocks here and 15 blocks here. So there was no room for any changes or anything, and I'm so glad that it fits. And I think it looks way better like this. And I do like the exposed pipes and the exposed wiring, I don't know, the shafts. So that's super good news. The last thing we have to do is make this thing pretty, and I don't want to spend a bunch of time on it. And I think it could be cool to just have black concrete up at the top there instead of the hay, because the hay is kind of stupid. There we go, that's now in, and I think it's gonna look pretty menacing from down here. It does, but I still think it's a little bit dark, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try my best to follow up one of these like pathway tube thingies and make it so that this just lights up the whole place. And before we even finish it, I think that looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna do it on every loop because that'll just be too much, but I think on one or maybe two, I think it'll actually look pretty dope. And this is what it looks like with just one in. I do think we need another one just for symmetry. So I'm going to grab the one that's like diagonally across over here and just start throwing in some more of these. And there we go. That is done. It didn't take too long, and I think it looks way better than it did before. But honestly, we're not going to really be paying too much attention to the inside of the big tube, so I'm not worried about it looking perfect. I think as long as it's like mostly symmetrical and looks pretty cool, I am okay with that. And with that out of the way, I think that is where I'm going to leave it for this episode. We made quite a bit of base progress. We now have an enclosed space instead of a building and a big old hole. Now it's just a cube. We also added some tubes to the cube to accompany the other tube, and then we made another cube and textured it with rust. I think the rust makes it look super, super cool. If there's any like detailing things that you think I could add, like the wind turbine fan thingies on the cube, let me know, because I don't know what we could add and what would look good. But if there's a comment that I like, I will add it. Then we also briefly worked on the interior. We got the pathways in. I showed you all the possibilities for what is going to be, I guess I should break this, of what is going to be down inside this hole. If you want a fog effect with whatever glass, white, black, gray, light gray, or if you think that the shroom light's like half the way up or more, with a fog effect above it, just to make the lava seem that it's closer, we could do that too. So let me know down in the comments which one you would prefer. But I think that's all. So thank you all again so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and consider subscribing. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.